Congratulations to everyone who entered Olden Demon 2023. Now comes the tough task of judging the competition. I knew this year would be a tough competition when models that are old enough to be included in Olden Demon started to pop up and win trophies in the official Olden Demon painting competition. Not only that, but this year we have over 300 entries. Now, I was prepared to make a snarky comment about the painting competition having no queues, plenty of access to each entrance model, and some entertaining content while you waited. However, as some people's pictures aren't showing under the Olden Demon 2023 hashtag on Instagram, I guess we're going to have to call this one a draw. If it was possible for me to just download all of the pictures and run through them with some commentary, I would. However, unfortunately it's not. So I'm going to pick and choose some entries and you can stroll through Instagram for the rest. If you are scrolling on Instagram, you will find some classic models such as Chainsaw Wizard, Brother Craig whispering to his magazine, Half-Dressed Berserker, and Calgar on toilet. In fact, Igon Painted a Thing was disqualified from Olden Demon as the model fell outside of Games Workshop's IP. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing a green base, so I think it's only fair to carry out the same sentence here. Only kidding, the green based rules are more like guidelines than actual rules. Let's run down some other entries before we get to the main event. We have some cool looking space effects and non-metallic metallics, custom grazing horse on one of my favourite models. I think this is true metallics painted like non-metallic metallics, but I can't trust my eyes anymore. More classic Nurgle models. I think this Space Marine model might just be burnt onto the community's consciousness. A big freehand painted banner here that was painted the same on both sides. An even bigger painted freehand banner here. An Orc Wyvern with a new sculpt from Kev Adams. A full Ultramarine command section. An old Chaos Warrior with super chunky lance. Slardag the Torturer from Death on the Reich, the classic Gretchen model from Space Crusade, possibly one of the oldest plastic miniatures here, Grom the Paunch with Advanced Wolves, Mathon Studio winning the Best Techless Award, classic Inquisitor in Terminator armour, a Snakebite Warboss on Super Cyborg with amazing freehand logos. This model is putting double duty as a stomper for the small scale category in Olden Demon, as well as a Runtbot that has just dropped his painted Orc miniature in Olden Demon. Some really nice texture on this Orc musician. Anvil of Doom has only been painting for 6 months and documenting it on his channel. He might get some interesting content when he sees the top 5 later. This Wood Elf shows that you can get a super clean effect from a model released in 1987. The Fey Enchantress with Frog and Mirror. And many, many more. So now we reach the point of judging. Normally I do 5 commended entries, however this year the standard was so high I just threw loads in. Also, these are in no particular order because after ranking the top 5 my nerves are shot. Paynos Paints has painted a lovely smooth Elder Ranger. Ultramarine LM has painted a Blood Angels Veteran Sergeant with some super smooth shading. Steve K. Mini's Hive Tyrant could have been stolen from the studio and I had to pull out an old issue of White Dwarf to check that it wasn't. Mechanic A going down the route of super detailed painting on this Squeak Hopper. Whiskey and Wizards using his super vivid style on this old Imperial Assassin. I can't believe I have to put Marty Bassini's Mercenary Wizard here with his lovely velvet hat and great shading on the robe. You have done great work for this community, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. Cal Foley has been inspired by David Soper's Rockgut Troggoth with his take on a Stone Troll. Janus Drake has gone full freehand on Sergeant Centurious. The original Brandy Dog has surpassed the box art on this classic Lecter model. Axe Face Paints has created a huge ogre with some lovely red scales. And finally Captain Normandy and his Cadian Sergeant, which looks absolutely lovely. All of these models are incredible, and it really speaks to the quality of the competition when these are only marked down as commended. In previous years they would have been finalist quality, but the quality of miniature painting since the pandemic has taken a massive step up. Now we get on to the main event where I have to start judging one miniature off against another. This is tricky because you will see miniatures that are technically perfect be surpassed by miniatures that have mistakes in them but have pushed the envelope just a little bit more. Before we start, I'm completely aware that painting competitions are subjective. That's why if at any point you feel like I've made the wrong choice, I suggest clicking on the links in the description to find the model you think is best and dropping them a message to tell them how they were robbed. The standard between these models is incredibly high, and I've had to really nitpick to try and sort them into an appropriate order. All that being said, I stand by my pick for first place, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. In at number 6, Hendarian with an Elder Farseer. Yes, I did mention that the rules of this competition can change at any time. Hendarian has pulled out the big guns here, and he's used an incredibly rare alternative sculpt and then modified it beyond that. The face, chest and helmet on this model are something else, and I couldn't just drop this one from finalist into commended with a clear conscience. Okay, now we are really into the top 5. Each of these receive a Goblin Green marker from War Colours, so they can paint their bases green at any time, home, at work or abroad. This video isn't sponsored by them, or in fact anyone, but check out their Nostalgia 94 paint range nonetheless. In addition, they all receive a lovely Olden Demon winners card. I couldn't photograph these correctly as they are printed with gold metallics in the style of the actual Olden Demon cards. These should be mounted in pride of place in the winner's house, ideally over the top of their real Golden Demon awards. Here is the top 5. Darren Lathan himself has entered his super smooth striking Scorpion. This model is a homage to Mike McVeigh's 1990s striking Scorpion with only a few changes like chevrons on the banner. It's about as good as you can make this model without fundamentally changing the heart of it. And yes, in case anyone's missed it the first time, I have just placed Darren Latham in 5th place in a painting competition. I don't know how I will look myself in the mirror again. I'm so sorry, please forgive me. The reason it's in 5th is because we have already reached the peak of what you can achieve while limiting yourself to techniques used in miniature painting in the 80s and 90s. The next 4 entrants are using cutting edge stuff here. Number 4 is last year's winner Goblin Green 2021 with his incredible Wolf Scout Sergeant. You can tell we are at the dizzying heights of miniature painting here when you can see the tendons in the model's arm, the shading on the fingernails, the light reflecting from chevrons in the cable, and the glint of white in the pupil on the miniature's eye. And we haven't even entered the top 3. In at 3rd, it's Juchi Gang's classic Farseer. He has really pushed the shading, lighting and freehand on this model. You can see the blue colours getting darker further down the model. I had to check if the runes on the cloak were actually sculpted on because the freehand shading was so good. What's pushed this up in the rankings was the crazy sword scabbard, which looks like it's been made out of the skin of some wild alien animal. This was painted on the back of the model out of line of sight of most people. The level of pedantry I had to deploy in order to justify this model in 3rd has turned my tears to vinegar. It literally came down to the shading on the back left shoulder. Before we can continue, can we check that Matteo, aka Hagen Pinnixe, has no sharp objects nearby? Because in 2nd place, it's Nicholas Filstrom's Orc Biggin. I'm convinced he has somehow shrunk a real orc. I'm not sure I can put it into words just how he has got it looking this realistic, but there are details like the light reflecting off of the tongue and the slight rusting on the axe that just look fantastic. The eyes are both shaded and highlighted, and the pupil has a light dot reflected on it. Nothing on this model looks out of place. It just looks fantastic. This brings us to our winner. This model is incredible, and without sounding like I've lost all judging integrity, I knew upon seeing the thumbnail image that this was the winning entry. Competitions like this can show that a relative unknown can just blow you away with their painting skill. Avalon Miniatures has taken the War Dancer from Warhammer Quest and created this. I don't know where to start with this miniature. First of all, the swords look fantastic. I've seen this style of non-metallic metallics before, done on large scale models, but I'm not sure I've seen them done on something this small, and certainly not on something this old. You have the yellow light from the sun reflecting on the top sword, and then the green from the base reflecting on the undersides. I'm going to channel my inner Greg Wallace for the next bit. My eyes were drawn to the face, which looks incredibly realistic for something painted with purple eyebrows. In terms of miniature painting, this is incredible. There are things you don't notice the first time around, and I'm tempted just to let people stare at it to discover all the little details. The colours are fantastic. He's taken a super bright style and desaturated all of the colours, including the base colour, which makes the colour from the hair really pop out. The large gem on the belt is reflecting the blue light into the sides of the casing. The yellow on the straps is reflected on the trousers. The blue of the hair is reflected on the hilt of the top sword. There's even transparency of the hair where it goes over the left ear that has been painted onto the model. The legs have the green of the base reflected into their fabric. Then you look at the back of the model and you can see that the hair has its mirrored reflection painted onto the top of the sword. The freehand black and white stripes on the trousers enlarge as the fabric stretches to cover the back right calf muscle. This is just incredible. Congratulations, Sven Johnson, you are a worthy winner. Now the competition is over, you can put your paintbrushes away for another year and put your feet up. Why not go to the beach, get a cream tea and a nice cafe, or maybe visit Quaint Miniature Railway? Or you could keep watching because there are 2 final points of order. Number 1, I couldn't leave this bit out, but John Blanche retired on the 31st of May. Congratulations on a long career. Enjoy wearing a massive half-moon mask and carrying a blunderbuss onto the golf course. It's unlikely he's watching, but I thought I would put this out as the news has somewhat dropped under the radar. Number 2, if you watched the announcement video carefully, you might have seen that I inserted a secret subliminal message into it. The Google Drive folder containing the blue gradient that you could use in your photos contained a secret file. This was a mock-up of the Angels of Death Codex that was reimagined with a variety of sources resources to incorporate extra detail that was cut out of the original cover. However, if you look closer, you might have discovered that one of the dreadnoughts was tinted black and had the word Furioso scribbled onto the banner. But why? What could you do with this information? Well, if you looked at the gradient, there was a partial URL hidden in the white area with a 7-letter word missing from it. If you used the word Furioso to complete the puzzle, you would be rewarded with a secret page on the blog featuring a very good dog and a short message about the Ko-fi page we are building. But what is Ko-fi? How do you pronounce it? And why on earth did I go to such an extraordinary method to try and hide its location from all of my viewers? I can only really answer one of those questions. In short, imagine the inquisitorial black ships taking the chain psychers to be fed into the Golden Throne, except the black ships are Ko-fi, the psychers are your money, and the Golden Throne is my subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. Actually, come to think of it, that's quite a grim explanation. Let me give this another go. Olden Demon is the place where the gloomy, low-resolution past of Games Workshop is reimagined with the help of modern technology so that the eager viewer can relive classic battle reports, learn the ways of out-of-print games, and rediscover classic artworks long since thought lost. In order to be a part of a project of this scale, most YouTubers would require a blood sacrifice, the offer of a firstborn child, and an initiation ceremony involving live poultry. However, here at Olden Demon, we only want a part of your family. Sorry, here at Olden Demon, we only want you to be a part of the family at our Ko-fi page. Ko-fi is like Patreon, only it doesn't make you ram your fingers into your eyes as soon as you look at it. It also has many features that may come in quite useful, like a gallery, the ability to accept one-off payments, and a shop, so that you can purchase our upcoming range of branded duct tape and cable ties. Subscribers to our tiers can get some spicy benefits, such as helping to decide the next battle reports and unit focus topics, gaining early access to new videos, having their name in the credits, shaping the plans to cover other games, and highly experimental stuff I couldn't possibly talk about due to the extreme chance of failure and embarrassment for all involved. If we get enough people to sign up as members, we could have a Discord server where you could meet new and exciting people. Maybe some of them are lawyers or judges, and the next time you're involved in a jam involving something you purchased on the dark web, you can give them a call to smooth out your legal troubles. Maybe they manage a shop and can supply your home bunker with tinned goods. Who knows what a friendly politician or Freemason can do? They might even have a key seat on a local planning council, and they can wave through your plans to build a giant Wicker Man. The more funding we receive, the more fun stuff we can offer. Spicier video formats, higher quality production, merchandise, and potentially much more. So, if that takes your interest, sign up and your money will help Olden Demon grow into the fully fledged death cult I always intended it to be. Thanks for watching. You are now legally obliged to join us.